Thank you, everybody, for joining us back here at Global Compliance Application Corp's channel. We're sitting here once again with Chief Executive Officer Brad Moore. And Brad, you released a real banger in the GCAC deck, updated and for September. I feel like we should run through just a little bit, even though I do implore people to go watch the main video themselves. Brad, how are you doing it? Are you ready to get into it?
I'm always ready, Michael.
Perfect. So there's a couple real key concepts in this for people. Can you talk about the most important ones?
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of things, right? Like, look, first of all, the deck is between the deck and the video, which is, sit down and get a glass of scotch because it's like a short run movie, but it's still a movie. And the deck is 22 slides long, I believe, right? 22 hours. That's what it felt like doing it. We probably got about 100 plus hours of man hours into it, but I think really what it does is encapsulates what we are. And kind of a couple of the key takeaways from it are those 80,000 Ethereum wallets inside the Affixi dApps. And, then the other, I think, which is probably the neatest thing, is actually about making blockchain, like what I call it a BaaS, but it's a SaaS, right? Software as a service, right? Bringing blockchain to real businesses and actually making it not keeping it in the hands of a few select large corporations.
Yeah, let's dive in. Let's break down and digest that first part a little bit. Sure. Where you talk about putting you're putting a wallet in the hands of so many people, and the goal that you had set in there was to aim to become the largest non-crypto blockchain use in the world, right? And I do see this becoming the future. People are going to be utilizing blockchain for all sorts of purposes that are not just speculation based on currencies. I've said this multiple times now. And Web3 isn't just coming, it's already here. It depends on how cutting edge or into it you are. I log into several things myself, just with my wallet, right? Typically I currently use MetaMask for a lot of it, but I log into a lot of games. I log into NFT platforms. I log in to do decentralized trading, strictly using a wallet, which is Web3. And this is just going to become more and more prevalent. It's also very easy to log in that way, and it's very secure to log in that way.
Yeah, 100%. And so I think, you said some great points there. So look, I like your example, how you use it, right? So you use it because you're in the industry, you're one of those guys and you get it and you understand the impact of it, right? Look, when Amazon came out, I'm old, I'm like old, right? I remember working in the internet industry and everybody was like, Amazon, nobody's going to buy things online ever. And it took a long period of time for people, now we're almost like literally in a cashless society, right? And so Web 3.0 is that next iteration where using your wallet exposes you to so many things, right? And, we will always boil it down to the baseline. There's somebody who makes something, somebody who consumes something. And our job is to communicate. And as you've seen through your own experience, that wallet allows you to do that. So the real thing is like, how do I get you to get a wallet? Like, if anybody goes in and looks at our deck, I can't remember the exact same one, but I think it was on the BaaS slide. And we actually, it shows a series of the different industries we think we can categories like hemp and industrial hemp and wine and organics and olive oil and obviously cannabis, and we've got a number of seats in each, or a number of wallets in each one. So when you think about that, so how are we going to get those wallets? It's simple. Remember, the whole baseline is to create connectivity and communication. When somebody puts a company puts their stuff on the blockchain and you walk in and you're in a wine store, right? And you see 3 bottles of wine. What am I going to have for dinner tonight? There's a QR code and you can see everything about that product. It's right in front of you. And most importantly, what everybody's saying, and it's all on the chain. And then you're all like, awesome. And you buy it. So it affects the sales, a win. Then you go home and now you, just like TripAdvisor, you've got an opinion. You want to give your opinion. So what do? You don't need to be an NFT guy. You don't need to be a gamer guy. You just want to have a bottle of wine and you want to give your opinion. And so you download the Affixi consumer app. And as you've seen it yourself, when you download it, the only thing you have to do is put in a password, facial recognition, right? goes in, check mark, and now you've got an Ethereum wallet because I own my own layer 2 blockchain, Michael, right? And that's like that's the key thing here. We can do this high level of communication, drive sales, create consumer engagement. And now you've got this person in a wonderful position as a consumer to be able to talk to them and communicate and connect with them. And what happens there? You stop spending money on consumer acquisition and you just use retention because you've got a good story, you put it on the blockchain. So the blockchain is the great facilitator of all things.
Yeah, yeah, well said. And you touched on a very key point there, which is the user interface for the consumer is really, really easy. All the high level work's already been done for them, which is I think is very much key and goes all the way back to the model that Apple's followed that's made them so ridiculously successful. But also going to the second part of that, when you talk about BaaS or blockchain as a service, similar to SaaS models that have been around for quite a while now. Blockchain is something that should be utilized across so many industries. However, not every industry needs to go out and create their own blockchain, right?
Oh my gosh, no. Like what we built was, first of all, you just got to understand it. Like, look, Ethereum launched, and first part of my deck, as you saw, is that like, hey, here's the history of blockchain. And I think that's for anybody, it's worth reading just to understand that. I've tried to kind of get it into a bite-sized piece so you can say, this is what it can do for me. There's something wonderful happened in 2015 with the advent of Ethereum and that construct of smart contracts, right? And so the idea then is with a smart contract, which isn't smart, it works to a set of rules. And it's very much like a flow chart. But what that allows you to do is say, you look at the problem you have in your business, whether you're not selling enough or it's cost of sales too high or you can't compete, you don't know enough, generally things like this. And then what will happen is you say, okay, I see the opportunity and value to put it on a blockchain. And then you're like, okay, so you go out and you go hire like Abby Technologies, right? And it's a $2 million and you got to have somebody on staff doing it. It's a year-long build. It's all this back and forth and it's just not out of the box. And so what we've done is we've said, well, hang on a sec here. This is why we play in a space, right? Because our dApps, and this is laid out in the dApps we have and the direction we're going, as you saw that, right? We're always kind of forward thinking, allows for that interconnectivity. So why spend $2 million for your small to medium-sized company when you can pay us a small monthly fee? And we're never gonna, if you're making $100 on something, just for simple math, I'm never gonna charge you more than $6.50. And I don't mean make revenue, I mean margin. All right. So this is like a marketing cost. So if you are having a hard time selling things and retaining customers and fighting for shelf space and trying to win people on the sales floor when your product, a CP, consumer packaged good product, is lost in the mix, you should like get hold of us where that's it's like I said, it's pennies on the dollar. We've made that investment. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. And Brad, one of the last things I kind of want to touch on here is something you had mentioned closer to the end of the deck and everything. We start talking about revenue and getting down to the brass tacks of thing, which is obviously something a lot of people on the investor side are looking towards, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think, once again, it's the idea about explaining, going through every slide and spending X amount of minutes per every slide was the whole point to understand the plan. But, we have to look at the life cycle of anything. And if you ever, there's a great book called Crossing the Chasm. Where we are in terms of adoption is we're still on the other side. Now, so what we've figured out and say, look, we know this can make a difference. We've seen how it makes a difference, right? And so what we did is we found key partners, right? First of all, starting off with cannabis, and you look at Citizen Green, you look at South Africa, and then you look at what we're doing at MTRI, 3 unique models. Whereas if I was just charging a SaaS model, and let's say, for example, I was selling to a cannabis cultivator, I can only make a nickel. In many other ways, like through working with these partners, we're making multiples. And the reason we're doing it is we're making an investment as a partner. And as part of that, we're deferring the cash. We're booking the revenue now, but we're deferring the cash. But, there's a big payday at the end, right? Like, as I've shown in my press releases, I mean, like something like 2.4 million bucks Canadian on like getting put on the books, so we're not off to like a bad start. the cash is coming. We're going to, you know, and here's the other thing. It costs, as when you look at in the life cycle, it costs money to go find those customers and to go sell and talk and sell and talk. So I'm all like, well, hang on a sec. Why don't we go find a handful of customers, go deep? It's not like I'm getting a handful of customers and only still charging like 5 cents a gram or whatever the equivalent is in olive oil. You know, what we're doing is we're making multiples. So that other revenue is huge for us. Like, it's huge, and it validates it. And it's, and, you know, like, just look at the deck. I'm old, but I think we're looking over 3 years. If, you know, knock on wood, we do what we say we're going to do, we're looking at 47 million bucks over a 3-year period against $11+ million in cost. You know, that's going to show differently with other income because it comes as, like, you know, dividends, royalties, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, naturally.
But I think, Michael, one of the key things is it's still a 75% margin, and that's well above what minimum SaaS should be, is 40%. So we've got a lot of flexibility in there.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to look forward to as we go forward with a lot of this stuff. And as you said, it's making investments now for the betterment of things in the future. So that's a lot to do with this. But I do implore everybody, if you have the time, please watch the video or just read the deck and let us know your thoughts. We'll happily entertain them. Don't be shy. Dip your toes in the water. But Brad, is there anything else you want to add for people before we go?
No, I look, it's, you know, as always, we're grateful to our investors, and we're excited about new ones, right? We love the opportunity to tell the story. You know, what I've seen is when we did our patent, it just showed how far ahead of the curve we were. Our patent application, for it to get approved, then nobody else is actually thinking about connecting consumers with somebody who makes something. And this is really what this is really what Ethereum was made about, right, Mike? And you know this, and this is what the whole purpose of a smart contract. So I've made that investment. We're moving it forward, and, you know, we welcome everybody on board to enjoy that ride with us.
All right. Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insight on this. Again, guys, let us know your thoughts about the deck, and stay tuned for more coming soon. Brad, thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.